Hi, my name is Dean Majewicz, and this is my presentation for Western Governors University, LUT1. With oil supplies dwindling and becoming more unstable, and natural gas difficult to transport and prone to shortages, coal, on the other hand, is not about to run out anytime soon. The effect of fossil fuels on the environment is a known fact and linked to global warming. The days of using energy sources that damage the planet are over. Finding new, alternative ways of producing energy is the only solution. There are several renewable energy options that could replace fossil fuels. These options are solar, wind, and biomass. Solar power can be found in many countries around the globe, such as Germany, which has one of the largest solar arrays with 33,500 panels in Litzbig. This array creates about 5 megawatts a day of energy, which is only enough to provide power for 1,800 homes. However, there are two companies that are leading the development in new technologies to harness solar energy. The first of these two companies is called NanoSolar, which is trying to change the way we look at solar power by creating semiconductor instead of silicon that we use today. These will cause a lightweight, cost-effective solution to bulky panels that we use now. The CEO for the company believes that the semiconductor will be 50 times thinner than the silicon panels that we use now. This will be achieved by painting the semiconductor particles onto a foil-like material. Eventually he hopes that we will be able to sell these sheets for about 50 cents a watt. The second company that is leading solar development is Osura, which builds large solar thermal plants. They already have a large demonstration plant in Australia and are currently constructing their first plant in California. After construction, the plant will be able to produce 177 megawatts of power at about 10 cents per kilowatt. Solar power only makes up about 1% of the world's energy. Due to cost, clouds, and darkness, solar power systems require the use of batteries to store the power. To satisfy the power needs of the United States, it would take approximately 10,000 square miles of panels. Nevertheless, with the help of NanoSolar and their thin-film solar cells, we can put panels on less than 25% of our nation's roof and still be able to generate our entire country's energy needs. In fact, Parfit, one of the authors referenced, installed solar panels onto the roof of his own home in an effort to be freed from the dependency of fossil fuels. His supply to such energies was also limited due to living on an island. The dozen panels cost him about $15,000 at about $10 per watt. The next renewable energy is wind. Large-scale wind turbines can crank out as much as 2 to 5 megawatts of power apiece. And 100 megawatts is necessary to be enough power for 175,000 people. With enough of these large-scale turbines in place, a city could easily provide for itself. Leading the world in wind power is Europe. Europe receives almost 35,000 megawatts of power from their wind turbines alone. This is equivalent to 35 coal plants, but without any carbon emissions. North America, surprisingly, despite the wind potential, is in second place with only 7,000 megawatts. Denmark, in third, gets more than 3,000 megawatts of power from wind turbines, but that is almost 20% of the country's total electrical needs. With all alternative energy sources, there are positives and negatives. The good thing with wind and solar is that it can be used on a small scale to power one house or multiple houses. Unlike coal plants, in addition, companies like Southwest Wind out of Flagstaff, Arizona, have created small wind machines that can produce about 400 watts apiece. That's only about enough to power a few lights in your house. Southwest is developing a new wind machine that would stand on a telephone-like pole and could possibly create 2 kilowatts in a moderate wind. Although they would sell for about $3,000 a piece, they would pay for themselves in a few years and come with all the electronics to plug into your house. There are, however, a couple problems with wind turbines. Wind is not a constant resource, which means that other sources of energy would have to pick up the slack, such as coal plants. On the other hand, if there is too much wind, such as during one of Denmark's notorious storms, too much power is produced and it needs to be unloaded onto neighboring cities and countries. Another big thing that makes wind turbines less popular is their appearance on the landscape. Hundreds of wind turbines take up a lot of space, but are also an eyesore. The next main renewable resource is biomass. Biomass is anything that can be burned like gasoline. Most commonly, we think of biomass as corn, sometimes used in conjunction with other fuels such as gasoline and diesel. We commonly use corn ethanol in our regular gasoline that we put into our vehicles, and vegetable oil is used to create biodiesel. Many countries regularly use biofuel as an alternative energy source. Germany uses about 450 million gallons a year. Unlike the United States and other countries use large amounts of biofuels such as Germany, we use about 450 gallons of biodiesel a year. South America, particularly Brazil, uses sugarcane ethanol because it produces a large supply of sugarcane. There's only one downfall to biomass, but it is a large one. As the world's population grows, so does the demand for more food. As such, biomass requires a lot of land to grow the crops to supply the fuel. Unlike solar panels, a lot of energy is lost due to photosynthesis, so not all the energy that is captured is usable energy. During President Obama's campaign in 2008, he ambitiously stated that by 2025, 1/4 of our nation's energy supply will come from renewable, earthly sources. 3 of 4 which I've listed here. While Obama will not be president by 2025, our world will continue to evolve as it always has. The Earth's fossil fuels will continue to dwindle and the climate will continue to change. There is no doubt that we will soon have to depend on a new source, a renewable source. It may be solar, wind, or biomass, or perhaps a new undiscovered technology waiting to be uncovered from the Earth's secrets. Regardless, the days of using energy sources that damage the planet are over. Finding new alternative ways to produce energy is our only solution.